So, you know, Nick Cruz, also known as Socialist MMA of the Revolutionary Blackout YouTube channel, th- went on Destiny's channel to debate. Um, we all know that Destiny is a you know is a is what I like to call a shit lib. He's he's a liberal, and Nick is like I am, is a socialist. And um, I was watching the Vanguard. Zach and Gavin of the Vanguard invited him onto his YouTube channel to talk about their debate with Destiny, and uh, yeah, the they invited on Nick and the other guy, Manny Lopez, I think is his name, of the Revolutionary Blackout YouTube channel. And let's take a look at this one clip from the debate where which the Vanguard talked about. And Destiny, he didn't know what he had coming. He tried to set him up, but he couldn't.
And yeah, I guess we are having a disagreement on Twitter about whether the United States is a fascist country. And I think more broadly speaking, like, what does it mean to say something's a fascist country or something? Um,
Yeah, so there are a lot of ways you can take this. It depends on how you want to define fascism. There are a lot of different people with varying opinions. I quoted the 14 steps to fascism. Obviously, there are a lot of people who talk about fascism as being a merging of corporation and state, a collection of dictatorial power and authoritarianism. And when I look at the 14 steps and everything that fascism is defined as, my reaction is the U.S. is fascist or worse. Like when you look at the human death count, when you look at the rights that they steal, when you look at the overall death count, the way the fight and struggle that they wage against workers, and the fact that the rich control everything, I think like whether you want to define it as fascism, I don't think that's that important. But to pretend that the United States as an empire has the more high ground over anyone, I think it's kind of foolish. So I guess I'll start there.
sure. So my issue, I guess, is that like I feel like I think we both can agree that the United States has problems. What I don't like is the labeling of every problem as fascist, because I think it instantaneously derails the conversation and gets us into really weird, like big measuring areas where it's like, did the U.S. kill more people than Germany, or like, are we too much this or too much that? Like, why can't we just address what the problems are instead of hyper fixating on calling things fascist?
I don't think we're gonna be yelling at each other as much as many people think we will, because I actually kind of agree with that. My point is, if you're gonna label any modern country fascist, the United States would be fascist. We
Well,
live in.
I mean, like, so if we want to go like further into that, like when we talk about like the 14 points, these things mean pretty strict things, and I feel like if we take them and we bend them, then like basically every single Western country would be considered fascist.
Yeah, that's why I actually kind of agree with your initial point when you say it's not too important to label anything as like fascist or whatever. I think it's more important to talk about the harm that is caused. But when I look at the definition of fascism, when I look at all the states that we have, at least all the prominent states in the developed world, I think the United States is the closest that we have to fascist.
Well, I mean, like I think Russia would fit way more easily.
How? Can you explain that?
Sure. So, like, if we were to walk down a list of the 14 points, so like number one, like powerful and continuing nationalism. Like I think that Putin's statements in regards to Ukraine, one of the justifications given is that like we need to reunite our peoples. That Russia has like this obligation, to people in other countries, and it's part of their like rebuilding of an empire, their pride as a nation. Like I feel like Russia is a highly nationalistic country, and I think Putin leans into it probably more so than we do in the United States. But I mean, we have to accept that every country, to some extent, is going to have some level of nationalism because, like, I mean, like French people are probably proud to be part of France, Germany.
And I wish there was another option that Russia had in Ukraine. But when you look at the United States, 800 military bases surrounding Russia. So I am not here to defend these states. I don't care about Russia as a state. I don't like Putin because he's an anti-communist. But if you're gonna call Russia a fascist country, or at least like allude to that, I'm not here to strawman your arguments at all.
Yeah.
You should at least admit that if you think.
Are you looking for the benefits of a hush blanket but sleep hard at night? After 2 years of success with
the Russian is fascist, you must believe the United States is fascist. If you don't think that is, I'm just interested in hearing that.
Yeah, I don't ever see the United States saying things like, we are going to go and like support civil wars in places to defend like our ethnic people in other areas, which is one of the claims that Russia makes. That's like a pretty fashy thing to say. Like, these are our ethnic brothers.
That's a unique statement. I think it's the Monroe Doctrine, right? The idea that the United States put out that anything in the Western Hemisphere is their backyard. How is that ideology?
Yeah, the Monroe Doctrine, like, but somehow, like, so Russia wants to invade Ukraine because they're ethnic Russians in Ukraine, but but at least there aren't any, but if the United States said we're going to invade Mexico or invade Venezuela, and this Mexico is going to be the 51st state, because it's well, they never said there were any ethnic Americans in Mexico, so therefore they're not fascist. Like, I mean, come on, no, that's not how. I mean, yeah, Destiny hasn't heard about the Monroe Doctrine, the idea that it's not like it's not that the United States like makes Mexico the 51st state or but in Cuba and Venezuela and Nicaragua and the entire like the entire Americas, like the United States wants to be the sole global superpower, and the way that they're the number one superpower, and what they do is they install like technically Venezuela would still under Pinochet. I mean, Chile still existed, but it was a puppet state of the United States, because Pinochet, when Pinochet was installed, he did everything the United States wanted them to do. So I guess there you have it. Destiny doesn't understand. Destiny wanted to focus on the labels, and then he brought up Russia. Like, I mean, for some, and so that Socialist MMA, Nick decided, no, I'm not gonna gonna focus on the labels. I'm just gonna focus on what these different countries do. But somehow Destiny thinks that what Russia does is somehow worse, and so I'm not saying Russia's good, but like like he has this like he's along with David Pakman. He's one of these liberals who has this super hyperfixation on Russia. So there you have it.